Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of my video, You're Not Your Mind. If you haven't watched part 1, if YouTube or Facebook or something has suggested you this video, but you're not familiar with the first part, get back there because you're not gonna understand what I'm talking about here, because it's just simple continuation. Because the topic is quite extensive, and I had to divide my flow of thoughts into two. So we have already said that you're not your mind, that mind and our thinking, overthinking ego, it's all the illusion. It's all the illusion, and it's all duality. And duality means always, separation. Separation and duality is actually the same. So it's me and you. We are not one. We are just separate entities. It's us and it's them. And we are the good ones, they are the bad ones, and so on and so forth. So people don't feel that unity. And surprise, surprise, do you see the similarity between the words unity and union? Again, little wink to those on your twin flame journey. Anyway, we have said that our mind, our ego, that illusion, duality, separation, and so on, they are our mental prison. They are our mental prison, and we are ourselves our prison. We are not in prison, and actually the only ones that can free us, it's ourselves. We can do it. So coming back to our identities, our roles we impose on ourselves, I wanted to say that, if you have someone who really loves you, likes you, appreciates you, they do not see you through, through those masks, through the roles, through those illusions. If you are happy, really happy to have loving parents, which happens so rarely to have loving and conscious and awakened parents. But if you do, your parents will not define you, this is, I know, Amanda, she's a lawyer. They will say, this is Amanda, my daughter. Yes, you're their kid. And no matter what you do, you will be their kid, and they will love you unconditionally. I know, most of you will say, no, no way. My parents, they are so proud that I'm a lawyer, that I'm a business person, or something like that. It's due to the simple fact that we all live in the same world. So also our parents, and they are as conditioned as we are, or as you are. But if you have really good family members or friends, they see the real you. Oh, I don't know if I should already mention, maybe I will mention later about some of my friends. So let's get back to Descartes. I promise you we're gonna talk about Descartes. I think that most of you heard of him, learned at school, especially the famous saying, I think, therefore I am. That was a mistake. That was a mistake, saying, conditioning your existence and basing it on thinking. Because, okay, do stones or rocks think? I don't think so. Do mountains think? Do trees think? No, I guess they don't. Okay, you can ask the trees, but I don't think. Think. I don't suppose that they really think. But do they exist? Can you touch them? Are they there? They are. And we as humans, when we sleep or when we meditate, do we really cease to exist? I don't think so. We are still here. Do, like newborn babies, I don't think that they are preoccupied, with the process of thinking. Do they exist? Ask their mothers who have just given birth to them, Of course, we all exist. So, uh, there were a lot of thinkers, philosophers, and so on. And Descartes, unfortunately, he stopped at the level of mind. The other guys, like Buddha, they went deeper. They saw through the mind. They saw beyond the mind. And of course, he didn't mean anything bad or wrong. And of course, I'm also not going to depreciate thinking, because we need to think. We need to think. We need to think at work. We need to think at school. We need to think to learn, to perform our tasks. Very often to be kind of creative, to find solutions, to find cures, and so on. When we are researchers, scientists, and so on, of course we need to think. But the point is, to think consciously, to use your mind and to use your thinking, for a particular reason. Yes, to perform your task, to perform your work. What is really problematic is this overthinking and constant thinking about hundreds of things, and not concentrating on what you are doing. Because I know it from my own experience, unfortunately. For example, imagine imagine the situation that you are cooking something, like chopping vegetables, chopping something, preparing a meal. What most of us do, and especially those of us who are also neurodivergent, like ADHD. Here we go. We chop those vegetables, we cook, and so on, and at the same time we think of hundreds of other things. Yes, we think what we need to do tomorrow at work, which tasks we need to perform. We look at our kitchen, we think, oh my God, I need to tidy up or clean my apartment. I need to do the groceries. I need to call my mother because I haven't talked to her for a week. Oh, if I haven't talked to my mother, I also haven't talked to my father, and I need to meet my friend. And Amanda is going to have her birthday in a few days, and I need to pay my taxes. Oh my God, my accountant or my attorney still hasn't replied. I need to send him an email. And you're in this wheel of thoughts, not concentrating on what you're really doing. So, does it bring anything to you? No, it does not. Because you are overthinking, you are tired. Your body, your mind, everything gets tired. You're stressed, you feel overwhelmed. And what is more, you're also not concentrating on your task. And this is when all those mistakes or even accidents happen. If you forget salt or something like that, okay, your meal is gonna suck, and you're not gonna enjoy it. So it hasn't killed anyone yet. But if you're chopping vegetables and thinking about hundreds of other things, you can just like cut your finger or something like that, or even something worse, because you will carry a hot pot and you will forget to take a cloth or something. You will burn yourself, and so on and so forth. So numerous accidents and mistakes at work and at home and so on, they are caused by the fact that we are not concentrating on what we are doing now, and we are in this constant process of overthinking. So it's the same at work. Yes, if you have an important task to perform, and and your thoughts revolve around everything and anything, you're not effective. So what kind of thinking is really effective? Yes, so we have a task, we think about this task, we concentrate, we think of solutions, and so on. And after some time, we need a break. A lot of trainers, coaches, psychologists, and so on, they tell you to take those little breaks during the day, like 2 minutes, switch off. And it's not some kind of a mumbo jumbo. You really need it. Yes, you need to switch off, and you need to concentrate on one thing. So, overthinking, thinking too much, it's the problem of probably all of us, to a smaller or to a greater or lesser extent. But there are some of us who are really neurodivergent or have some mental problems, diseases, and so on. People who, like me, who have ADHD, and it's such amount of overthinking, of thoughts, of that popcorn in your head. I used to talk about it in one video. I will continue the topic, but I had to research it a little bit deeper. So this constant popping in your head, it's really harmful. So we are like in the Matrix. And now let's get back to that movie. Do you remember Matrix with Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves and so on? So if I hope that most of you are familiar with that movie. When it was on at cinemas, I was a teen. I was a teen at the time, and I think most of us were like really amazed. Oh my God, it was something else, and I really felt that movie. I really felt that movie, and actually, it shows the truth. but we didn't know what Matrix actually was. So our mind, our overthinking, that is Matrix. That is really Matrix, because you remember how the machines in Matrix used humans. So humans were like those batteries feeding, yes, really, literally feeding the machines. And in the case of our mental matrix, we are those batteries feeding our mind. Shouldn't it be other way around? So instead of using our mind and instead of using our thoughts or maybe even intelligence and so on, we are being used. So the roles are completely reversed. As instead of using a tool, we become a tool of something else. And someone said, no, I don't remember who that was, that mind makes a good servant for a poor master. And this is exactly the point. So when we have that overthinking, when we are mind driven and thought driven and overthinking driven, we have that duality I told you about. And duality, again, it's separation, and it's division. We against them, and so on and so forth. So we have those we have hate, we have fights, we have wars, and so on. And it can be wars between countries, because we against them. It can be wars between two religions, which is unfortunately very often connected also to countries. We have football hooligans or soccer hooligans, from two opposing clubs, and they also fight with each other. We have different belief systems. I know fans of different kinds of music, and the point is that it always leads to a fight. People fight with each other, fight with other beliefs, fight with other religions, fight the countries, fight, and so on and so forth. You have this fight, and then this necessity and this notion of fight and fighting spreads uncontrollably. Think of this situation. Even if we mean something positive, we also say that we fight. We fight with cancer. We fight with hunger. We fight with any diseases. Why don't we ever say that we are trying to find a solution? No, you hear, we fight with that. We fight with that. Wouldn't really looking for a solution, wouldn't it be a better idea? Do we really need to, fight? I will. Do you know this new metal band Crazy Town? I hope you do. They are great. Unfortunately, one of them is already on the other side. One of the guys, but being enjoying goth and metal and new metal music for all my life, I'm also familiar with Crazy Town. And in one song, it was their album, I think it was Dark Horse, and there were two songs that were hidden. So, two tracks that were hidden on the CD. You had to wait, a few minutes till they suddenly appeared. And, there is a quote, fighting for peace is like for virginity. And I think it's the best quote ever. Because, it shows how absurd that is. So instead of unite, #union, instead of unite, cooperate, and, find peace, together we fight. Why aren't we like Gandhi? Everybody knows who Gandhi was. Did Gandhi actively fight with anyone when he disagreed with what was happening around? No, he was peaceful, and his tool was peace. Peace, really. So peace is most important, and also peace of our mind. As I said, not that overthinking, not that hamster wheel. No, the peace of mind. And why people don't do it? I think they're afraid to kind of lose control, kind of lose that illusion. As humans, we get addicted to thinking, overthinking, and we get addicted to those illusions. It's like addiction to drugs or alcohol. And even if somebody is not really that addicted that, they like pass out after drinking alcohol and so on, it's again kind of socially conditioned. I will tell you such a thing. I used to drink alcohol. I never overused. I was lucky. I have never had problems with any substances like that in my entire life. But I used to enjoy a glass of red wine to my dinner every now and then. And when I started my my really spiritual journey, when I started my ascension, when I started healing, doing that psychology, self-work, more meditation, and so on and so forth, I decided to stop drinking alcohol at all. First of all, my body told me so. My body was like, I'm out. I cannot like metabolize alcohol any longer, and and I just knew that I didn't want it. I didn't want it. So it's one of the things that I don't I don't consume. And there are also others. Yes, I don't eat sugar, almost never. Once, twice a year. Maybe it's due to my problems with diabetes and so on. So I don't eat sweets. I don't eat candies. I don't use sugar. I don't drink alcohol, and I haven't smoked cigarettes also for many years, and so on and so forth. And that was a problem for many people, because when they offered me something and I refused, or when they asked me about that and I said that I don't eat candies, I don't eat cakes, I don't drink alcohol, they were like, so what do you have from your life? I was like, what? And they said, yeah, if I were to resign from sugar, alcohol, and so on, what pleasures would I have in my life? I was like, are you serious? Are you serious? Out of this whole life, whole world around you, everything that exists, starting from beautiful sunrises and sunsets, through nature, birds chirping, your friends, people whom you love, I hope, who love you, and so on. All the things that you can do, visit, all the hobbies, no matter if it's music, sport, traveling, and so on. You're telling me that if you can't drink alcohol or eat sugar, you're gonna have no pleasure in your life? Then your life sucks. Really, trust me, your life sucks. Rethink it. But it's this mental conditioning. It's being in that hamster wheel. It's like the myth or the story of Sisyphus, from Greek mythology, Roman as well, and so on. We all learned about it, but Albert Camus, the writer, said it's the best metaphor of humanity. Being in repeating the same patterns, feeling that you are in pain, feeling that it doesn't make sense, repeating it still, suffering, and so on. Craving for tomorrow. Yes, craving for tomorrow, craving for something that you don't have. But you know what's the problem with tomorrow? Tomorrow never comes. There is always another tomorrow and tomorrow, so tomorrow never comes. So what is the solution? What you should be doing? Live now. Live now, here and now. You know, now is all that you have. You don't have your past any longer. Of course, there was some past, and it's great if you learned from that. But you don't have it any longer. You cannot grasp it. And future is also a kind of a abstract concept. It never comes. It really never comes. So be now, here and now. Live consciously. Think consciously when you need it. Use it, for the good, for some kind of a purpose. And I will show you a book. I kind of quoted it because I said you are not your mind. Therefore, Eckhart Tolle, a great guy. I highly recommend him. I'm the kind of follower like that. Even though I think he's great, and what he says, what he teaches is amazing. Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. Now I'm reading it for the third time. I guess there are some guys online who promote that book, recommend it, and you might think, oh my God, it's another scam. This is not scam. It's very clever. The Power of Now. And the first chapter in this book is actually called You Are Not Your Mind. And the guy is right. So drop the fight, drop the resistance, get out of that hamster wheel, and act and think. Use your mind. Still, you will have to use it, of course. Your mom, if she was yelling when you were a kid, can't you think a bit? Okay, she was kind of right. Sometimes you need to really think, but think wisely, think consciously. Don't be a tool. Use it as a tool. So be here and now. And how can we be here and now? We need to kind of switch off. We need to meditate. I will talk about meditation, especially as most people, I think, they misunderstand the concept of meditation. They think it's some kind of again, religious practice, doing weird things, some poses, some weird chantings. No, meditation is actually a state of being here and now, switching off that overthinking, switching off that craving, and so on. Just being here and now. This is why most people who can really meditate and who really do it, they like do it a few times a day. They take this break. They meditate in the nature because they are here and now. They observe the nature. They observe trees and birds and so on. They concentrate on their own breath and so on. It's not to make some kind of mumbo jumbo weird things and so on. No, it's just to be here and now, and not to overthink, and not to revolve around. And if we do it, will everything be perfect and so on? Of course it won't. Of course it won't. You will still live your life. There will be some challenges and so on, but you will see them differently. That's the point. To see them differently. And stars are only visible in darkness. It's actually also a quote from one song by Imagine Dragons. And I can tell you, I have this quote. Generally, the song appeared in Transformers, and I love Transformers. I'm a freak in this area. Oh my God, how can I be spiritual if I love metal, rock, and Transformers and so on? Surprise! Don't judge people, and I know maybe don't judge animals, other things. But the song by Imagine Dragons, so stars are only visible in darkness. I have a tattoo like that on my back, and actually, this quote is composed together with the yin yang symbol, and yin yang is also very important here because there is no light without the darkness. Of course, it's again kind of a duality because our world is based on that duality. But duality, like light and darkness, good and bad, and so on, it means separation. We already said separation. And yin yang symbol, it shows best what it actually is. It's complementary. It's not, you see only a half of it, only this, let's say, black part somewhere, and you say, it's yang. Ooh, no, there is no yin, and so on. No. They are all together. They are together. They are complementary. So they are not like contrast. They are complementary. So they are one. Actually, they are one. Both things are incorporated into that one. So I think that the Eckhart Tolle should write another book, The Power of One. The power of now is already there. Let's write The Power of One. If he doesn't do it, I will. So it was this knowledge was in the old teachings and so on, but we forgot them. We have forgotten them. And the problem with mind, with duality, with overthinking, with all that I've mentioned already, is not only, the first thing, as I said, is that we fight. Oh my God, I need to change the position again. Every night is the same. The problem is that when we concentrate, on duality, on separation, on fighting, and so on, yes, as I said, we fight. Instead of being in union, state of union, instead of being in union with everyone and everything, instead of being in this unity, we fight. And if we were in this state of union, we would cooperate. Look how our civilization has developed. Science, medicine, I don't know, even social or psychological sciences, arts, and so on and so forth. We have so much knowledge, we have so much understanding, and still, we still have wars, we have suffering, we have all that shit. So instead of, finding the solutions, as I said, not fighting, finding the solutions, instead of ending suffering, hunger, poverty, and so on, we still fight. We have access to that knowledge. We have access to so many things, and it's easy to explain them, and people still do not want to understand them. It's like ending suffering of children, of people, but also of animals. There are so many organizations that show you in what kind of terrible conditions and suffering most animals live, that then go to slaughterhouses and so on. And people have access to that, and they still eat like meat, from those slaughterhouses, from that mass production, and so on. Isn't it crazy? People, or a lot of I don't know, organizations, some kind of institutions, and so on, show you in how terrible conditions our clothes are manufactured in some Asian or African countries, where children, 21st century, oh my God, and we have their children, also adults, but especially children, who work like in terrible conditions for long hours, and they are paid a few cents per day or per week. So they just work not to starve, but it's not living. And this kind of information and this knowledge is so easily available and shown to many people, and you still have some guys who buy that, fast fashion, cheap clothes, and so on. You have a lot of so-called influencers who do it, and they post stories, reels, videos, pictures with such clothes that that mean so much suffering to others in some other places. If all that knowledge is available to us, why aren't we using it? It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm telling you. So it's gonna crash. Trust me, it's gonna crash. And the only solution here would be all of us to awaken. And it shows again that the notion of awakening is not kind of a weird mumbo jumbo again, as many people think, and so on. Awakening is just this being conscious, being one with everyone and everything, being one with other people, being one with nature, being one with the whole universe. And this is what a lot of spiritual teachers and thinkers were trying to show us, but their words got like kind of distracted. Do you know this game that kids used to play? It was called a telephone. So when you had a few kids, and one person said something, some sentence or a saying or something like that, like shooting, and then to another person and so on, and finally the last kid was supposed to say what they heard or what was originally said. And usually it was very funny because it got distracted. Somebody changed one word, another person changed another, and so on. And this is actually what happened to a lot of those teachings. So on the one hand, a lot of people do not believe in them because this distracted version. I can understand it, but we lost all that knowledge. So as I said, the solution is to awaken, and to awaken is means just to be here and now, and be one with the others, be full of love and compassion. So what I'm gonna like recommend to you, what I'm gonna suggest, because I'm finishing this video. It's another long video. First of all, read this book. Read The Power of Now. Really, I highly recommend it. Secondly, watch the movie Samadhi. It's available online. It's free. You don't need to pay it. You don't need any platforms. It's just on YouTube. So it's Samadhi, Samadhi, Samadhi. Try to read some teachings of real spiritual teachers, not kind of woo nowadays. Try to find what Buddha had to say. Try to find the teachings of Buddha, but the real teachings of Buddha. Try to read what Gandhi had to say. There are also some other names I could mention, for example, like Krishnamurti. I will need to read it because I saved it for myself. So to discover anything, you must look, and to look, you must be silent. So he was like, be and observe, and don't judge. See the things as they are, without judging, without those masks, without those false identities, filters, and so on. If you think like, okay, girl, what kind of bullshit you are saying, you don't want to listen about or listen to some kind of spiritual teachers, I can suggest also a psychologist, a real psychologist. You certainly have heard of him. So Carl Gustav Jung. So as a psychologist, so it's like a scientist, and he said, one who looks outside dreams, one who looks inside awakens. Jung, the same times as Freud. Everybody listened to Freud only. They ignored Jung. If we had listened to Jung at that time, our civilization, at least European civilization, would be now in a completely different place. I can also quote one more person. You can also like Google her. It was Her Holiness Srimataji Nirmala Devi. The videos with her teachings that you can find, they are pretty old. They are like digitalized tapes from the 80s, 70s, and so on. So for some of you, it might be a little bit too difficult, but still, I will tell you what she said. True peace is not the absence of conflict. I told you, that there will still be challenges. True peace is not the absence of conflict, but an imminent state of being. So look, no matter who that was, what kind of a thinker, philosopher, teacher, psychologist, and so on, they all tell you the same thing. Being here and now, not overthinking, no seeing the world through the veil of illusions. Just be. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here. I will make some more videos in this regard. For example, how to meditate so that you do not think that you need to practice some yoga positions and figures and some magic. It's just it's just sitting here and now. And if you find it really difficult to switch off your thoughts, which has basically always been my problem, I will give you a few hints. So remember, you are not the illusion, you are not the story the others tell about you. Oh my god, now I think of Chimamanda Adichie and the danger of a single story. There are so many clever people around the world. So, you are not your mind. Be conscious, use your mind, and do not let it use you. So, thank you a lot for listening to me. Lots of light and love for you. Bye.